What's up, everybody? I'm back. It is Tuesday, September 23rd. Busy day today. Long day of work. Had some classes to teach today, boxing class, and then I had a jiu-jitsu class to teach today. Face might look a little red, on the mat, the gi on. But, man, I'm excited. We have fights this weekend, UFC Perth. Last weekend was dead. We only had the Collazo fight, but man, I'm glad we have a good Saturday of fights. Man, it's always kind of hard when there's no fights going on, any big fights on the weekends. Man, I almost don't know what to do with myself. But UFC Perth, I did the breakdown for the first couple fights. A couple fights have fell out, but the betting lines came out this week. The main event, Carlos Ulberg from New Zealand versus Dominic Reyes from California. The betting lines came out. They have Carlos Ulberg, light heavyweight bout, minus 250 versus Dominic Reyes, plus 205. The last two UFC cards, they got the main event wrong as far as the betting lines. It was the, Imabov, Bahalio, they had got wrong. Bahalio was lower rank. He lost. And then the fight after that was the... Let me look in my ghetto-ass notebook here that I got. It was... Oh, the Lopez versus Silva. The UFC Noche. Jean Silva was ranked number 10. Lopez was number 2. And they had Silva as the favorite at minus 238. This week they have Reyes at plus 205. Ulberg minus 250. I think they got it right this week, man. I had picked before when I did the breakdown. I think Ulberg, they're both coming off 3 wins. And Reyes is actually coming off knockout wins. Dustin Jacoby, Anthony Smith, Krylov, good wins. But Ulberg's wins, one of them was KO TKO over Alonzo Menifield. But the Uzdemir fight and the Jan Blachowicz fight they hold more weight for me, in my opinion, compared to Dominic Reyes' wins. Jan Blachowicz, former light heavyweight champ, and Uzdemir, I believe, was ranked number 4, I believe, when they fought. So those are more quality wins in my eyes. Like I said, man, Ulberg, they're in Perth. Ulberg's from New Zealand. I know they're not the same. Please, if you ever say that Australians and the Kiwis are the same, they'll rip you a new asshole. So they're not the same. But it's as close as he's going to get to home ground, to home turf advantage. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to have a huge following there. I believe Ulberg is the next big light heavyweight superstar on the rise. Reyes has fought really well. He wants to make his way back to another title shot. His last title shot was against the GOAT, John Jones. Great fight. A lot of people thought he won that fight. But he's getting older, and I just think Ulberg has all the tools. He's got the look. He's got the build. He speaks well. He's explosive, and he usually wins by knockout. The last two, they were just against the top of the top 5 guys, former world champion, and then Uzdemir was up there making a run at the title himself. So minus 250, Carlos Ulberg. I believe the over-under was 2.5 because this is a 5-round fight. If I had to bet, I'm going to bet Ulberg at minus 250. Even though he's the favorite, I believe he's going to get the job done. And I'd bet the over at minus 2.5. The co-main event fell out. Junior Tafa, I was excited for this fight. He was going to fight Ibu Aslan. That fight gets pulled out or gets dropped. I'm not sure who got injured. But the Jimmy Crute was the feature fight. Or it might not even been the feature fight, but now it's moved up to the co-main event. Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Ivan Erslan. Jimmy Crute, the favorite, minus 185. Irslan plus 154, and it's over-under is at 1.5. It's a 3-round fight. I still like Jimmy Crute. I still like Jimmy Crute. He had that big win versus Prachnio last time by submission. The Bellato fight was a draw, and he lost to Alonzo Menefield by submission. But he looked good. He looked good. He made a mistake against Alonzo Menefield when he got subbed. And even Erzlan is coming off 2 losses to Navajo Sterling, who's also on this card, who I will get to shortly, and Kutalaba by split decision, Navajo Sterling by unanimous decision. I like Jimmy Crute. I like Jimmy Crute, and I would even maybe go Jimmy Crute by submission in this fight. So I don't know about the over-under. It's 1.5. Man, I think I'm gonna stay away from that with the 1.5. But I would, if you have a little extra cash, I'd throw a little bit on Jimmy Crute by submission. And next on the card, Jake Matthews, the Aussie, versus Neil Magny. Jesus Christ, man. Neil Magny has to have like 70 fights. This guy's been fighting forever. I believe he's got like over 20 fights in the UFC for sure. This fight's a 3-rounder. The over-under is 2.5, so they're not expecting a finish in this one with that line. But they do have Jake Matthews at minus 380. Huge favorite, minus 380. Neil Magny, plus 300. Now, Neil Magny's coming off of a win. So he's 1-2 in his last 3. But the 2 losses were to Carlos Prates, one of the fighting nerds who just won, and Michael Morales, who just won, the guy from Ecuador. Those are not bad losses, because those 2 guys, Prates and Michael Morales, are surging to the top of the heap. Even though Prates lost to Ian Gary, his last win was a big win, and those guys are top 10, I believe. If they're not, they're right knocking on the door. Neil Magny hung with those guys. Neil Magny, the over 2.5, it looks pretty good, and the plus 300 for him to get a win, even if it's a split decision, it's a win. For the quality of the bet, plus 300, I would throw a little bit on Neil Magny, man. Like, that's not a bad bet. He's been in there with some of the best guys. He's seasoned. He's experienced. Crafty veteran. I know Jake Matthews, he's good. I believe his last 3 were all by submission. Or 2, at least 2 by submission. Neil Magny's hard to get out, man. That guy can sub a lot of people. So just for the quality of the bet, I'd bet Neil Magny, but I would probably bet Jake Matthews to win. But if you're a betting man like me, hey, plus 300 ain't looking bad for Neil Magny. And that's at the welterweight division. The next fight, a fight they got scratched initially. And I was really hyped about this fight because, as I said before, Junior Tafa was the co-main event, but his big brother, Justin Tafa, the heavyweight, was on this card. I love Justin Tafa. He gives me Mark Hunt vibes all over again. He's from New Zealand. He's a Kiwi. God damn, man. But he's coming off of 3 losses. And the guy he's fighting, Louis Sutherland from Scotland, he's making his UFC debut. And they only have him at minus 105. They have Justin Tafa at minus 115. So he's a slight favorite. Heavyweights, that's not surprising because anyone can get clipped at heavyweight. Those guys are big, and if somebody touches the other one's chin, they go to sleep. So 3 losses. If he loses another one, it's probably his last fight in the UFC. Maybe. It's easier for the heavyweights to get away with losses because, especially right now, the heavyweight division is, you've got the champion, Tom Aspinall, and the number 1 contender who's fighting for the title, Cyril Gane. And then it's like Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades, the Russian guy, Volkov, Pavlovich, Rosenstruck. Like, those are the top 5, top 6 guys. So you could be on a losing streak. If Justin Tafa gets a knockout this weekend and then comes back and gets another knockout or a win, he's right back up there. You know, that's the beauty of the heavyweight division. You can lose, but you get a couple knockouts, highlight finishes, you're right back in the mix, you know. Um, I really hope Justin Taffa wins this fight. I really like those guys. I don't know what it is. Maybe because they're Kiwis, big Samoans, and I love rugby. I played rugby, and just the rugby culture in Australia and New Zealand is so big, especially New Zealand with the All Blacks. I played with some of those guys, and I just fell in love with that culture. Maybe that's why I love those guys so much. But and me being such a big fan of the Super Samoan Mark Hunt back in the day, I really hope he wins. He should get it done. I know, like I said, he's a minus 115. The other guy's a minus 110. But it is the guy's debut. And most guys who make their debut in the UFC, it's different when you get under the big lights. You know, it's the big show. You know, like my coaches used to say back in the day, and my football coaches and wrestling coaches, anybody can be good in practice, but are you a Friday night player? Can you show up and play under the lights when it matters? Justin Taffa's been there before. Louis Sutherland, it's his first time debut in UFC. So I'm going to bank on that alone. Justin Taffa. And the over-under is 1.5. I would even go, fuck, man. I would say Justin Taffa with the under. Yeah, I'm not going to overthink it. I go Justin Taffa with the under by knockout. Come on, motherfucker. Shit. The next fight, Tom Nolan, the Aussie. Tom Nolan's fighting Charlie Campbell from the USA. Tom Nolan is 3-0 in his last 3. Charlie Campbell is 2-0 in his last 2. This fight is at 2.5 is the over-under. Charlie Campbell is plus 120 is the underdog. The Aussie Tom Nolan is minus 142. I really haven't seen Charlie Campbell fight. I saw Tom Nolan's last fight, and he looked really good. But I haven't seen Charlie Campbell fight. You know, there's only so many fights I can watch. You know, I try to watch as many as I can, but some of these guys there, especially the young and up-and-coming guys, it's just not enough hours in a day. You know, I work full-time. I have kids, going to practices, training people, training myself. Sorry, I just can't get to it all. I wish I could. I really do. But I'm going to go Tom Nolan on this one. Minus 142. I think it's a pretty safe bet. And then the last one I'm going to break down, Navajo Sterling, the Kiwi from New Zealand, fighting Rodolfo Bellato. I mentioned Bellato earlier. He had the draw with Jimmy Crute. And then he had a scheduled fight versus Paul Craig. And that didn't happen. I believe Bellato got hurt or missed weight. I believe he got injured. They postponed it. They do the rematch, and I believe it was either an illegal strike down low or an eye poke, and he couldn't continue, and it got called in no contests. So his last 3 fights have all been draws or no contest or just no fight at all. So just with that alone, not to mention Navajo Sterling's coming off 2-0 with 2 finishes, I believe. He's minus 245. Bellato's plus 120 or plus 200, and the over-under is 1.5. I would go Navajo Sterling. Navajo Sterling minus 245. I don't want to jinx it and say under, but I want to say the under, minus 1.5. Navajo Sterling. But that's my short breakdown. There's a ton more fights, but none that are really jumping out at me. So, yeah, there you go. UFC Perth this Saturday. I believe it's at our time, 8 or 9 o'clock Central Time. The main card. So prelims will probably start about 7. It'll be morning time in Perth, but it won't be early morning like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. in England. I believe it'll be, prelims will probably start around 9 a.m. over there. Main card 10, main event will probably be around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon for them. So, yes, it's morning time for them, morning fights, early afternoon, but it's nothing crazy like Leon Bilal where those guys are walking out at 5 a.m. So, that's got to fuck with those guys if it's that early. So not too bad for these guys. Should be great fights. I'm looking forward to it. The Perth cards, the Sydney cards are always good. And the Australian fans are great. So nothing better than a live crowd who understands the sport and gets behind their guys. There's a lot of Aussies and Kiwis on this card. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really hyped and excited for this weekend. Gotta love it. Fight week. It's the best. Hope you guys like the new intro. Sorry, I was messing with it earlier before I shot the video. That's actually me after my last fight, my last pro fight. And then, of course, I added a little AI to it. But hope you guys like it. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe. See you on the next one. Peace.